Okay, so today is slightly different. We're gonna be doing a RAM test today, which is actually quite important for many people who are actually trying to like further their training, do structured trainings, because then you will know what your FTP is. So I got an indoor trainer. Yeah, it's the Wahoo Kicker Core. So I'm currently doing Zwift now, and it's good for you to know what your FTP is, because then you'll know where your zones are. So that's how you are able to do structured training, and it's quite important for people who are actually looking to get into serious cycling, or like just go for races, because that's where your training zones are. Now, knowing your FTP is actually very crucial, because then you can compare your FTP to other people and tell them that you are better than them. But because my FTP is very low, as of last year November, my FTP was 220. Let's see whether today there's an improvement, because I have no idea whether there's an improvement or not. But let's hope that there is, because I do personally feel that I've gotten fitter, but I don't know whether I got fitter mentally. So we're gonna go and try it out and to see whether we're able to clear this RAM test. Because last week I did the RAM test and I failed very badly. I stopped at like the 380 watt mark, which was a bit sad, because I believe I could push harder. But because I stopped pedaling, and then the trainer just, like, it was so hard to get back on, and I was just too tired by then. So hopefully this time we're able to clear it and get a higher FTP than 220. Let's see whether we are able to do it or not today.
So this is the starting of the RAM test, where we start to do 100 watts for 1 minute, and we just ended the, what's that called, the free ride. So why am I suddenly doing a RAM test? Now, I'm doing a RAM test because it's been a while since I've last did a RAM test, so I have no idea what my current FTP is. Now, my previous FTP was 220, which I took in January. I don't know whether or not I have improved since then, but that's why we're currently doing the RAM test, right? So then we will at least know what my current FTP is. Now, why did I decide to do a RAM test? I decided to do a RAM test is because I'm currently planning to hit 300 watts by the end of the year. I want to hit 300 watts because I just want to hit 300 watts. So I currently want to start doing structured training, trainings where I target my zone 2, my zone 4s, my lactate thresholds. Of course, this is in conjunction with other things like running and whatever that I'm already doing. Now, it's kind of painful to be able to do, no, it's kind of painful to do RAM tests, because RAM tests are never easy, and they are always like just hell. It's just a hell of a session for me. Now, there is also another reason why I decided to do a RAM test, and I think it's for many of the people out there who have no idea what to do with their FTP number. Now, since you're already in the world of power, and you decided to plunge your money into a power meter, be it a Favero or a Stages or whatever, you have already probably done some research to know that FTP is a number that you can hold for an hour. And this is where structured training and your intervals and your zones come in. You have various zones from zone 1, some to zone 5, some to zone 6, some to zone 8, depending on whoever you're talking to. So from this number, usually your numbers is zone 2 to zone 4. Now, even though you have your zone 1 to your zone 5, usually you will only be in your zone 2, zone 4 area, where that is usually your working zones. So your zone 2 is sort of like your cardio building, your endurance building zone, and then your zone 4 is your lactate threshold, and anything higher is like your VO2 max. So that's where you start to train your sprints, you start to train whether or not your weak heart is able to take whatever pain that you're going to throw at it. 15 seconds to 280 watts. Currently we are doing 260 watts average, which is an okay number. Now, I think RAM test takes the 90th percent of your FTP, 90 or 75 of your total average as your FTP. So, 280 watts, you can see that my face is visibly in pain. I have been maintaining a cadence of 90-ish to 100 because, I don't know, spin to win, I guess. So, maintaining that cadence, I think, was a big mistake, because I just didn't feel like my legs had enough energy left, and my heart rate was at a constant 180 something. So that's kind of bad because then I was actually at like almost my close to max heart rate since 260 watts all the way to the end of the RAM test, which isn't very long. It's like another 10 minutes more or less. I can't remember. So I think I stopped at the 340 watt mark or the 360 watt. That is when I think I was absolutely hammered. I wanted to puke. I couldn't breathe anymore. I felt like shit. So now we just hit the 300 watt. 300 watt is, I think, at my limit already, because I started to die. My game started to die. My laptop started to, it started to slow down, and everything just decided to not work. 300 watts was 3.7 watt per kg. I currently weigh 82 kgs, which is a fat piece of shit, but we're trying to get higher. So 300 watts is actually my target FTP by the end of the year. I don't know how I'm gonna hit 60 watt FTP, but we're gonna try. So I saw this map, I was kind of interested because like everything was volcano, and technically in real life we wouldn't ride in a volcano. So that's also one thing, I guess, which is quite fun about Zwift. And I didn't need to maintain my power because I have my erg mode doing it for me, which is also one of the factors why I decided to buy the Wahoo Kicker Core, because it has erg mode and not a wheel on trainer. Because I used to have a wheel on trainer, it didn't have erg mode, which bummed me out quite bad. Like I actually wanted that erg mode just so that I could do better, like more stable intervals and more stable workouts. So 320, I think at this point I was about to die already. My cadence is 60. I think either my cleat or my pedal, like there's some issue with it, because I started to unclip, and once I unclip I couldn't clip back, and I couldn't like push out any more power. So as you can see, I'm really struggling. I think I decided to give up at this point because I could no longer push out any more power seated, and I decided, okay, enough. We're gonna go and try. We're gonna go and see what the power is, and we're just gonna work with this number all the way to the end of the year. And then we're gonna do another RAM test at the end of the year to see how much we have improved from here.
I feel extremely hammered. My entire arm is glistening, which is a good thing technically, which means that I worked out. So now we are currently doing the cool down, and I believe my FTP was about 240, 250-ish, but because I was too hammered to leave the bike, and then I couldn't go and stop the thingy, so the FTP dropped all the way down. But when I stopped pedaling and like halfway through the timer countdown, it was about 240, 250. So we're gonna take that my FTP is 240, because the system recorded it as 231, 232 actually. So we're gonna take it as 240 because it's in between 230 and 250. So my current FTP now is 240 watts, which is a 20 watt improvement from last year, which is a good thing. And assuming that I weigh 82 kgs now, the watt per kg is somewhere here. So that's about today's ride. Now, why did I want to do this and torture myself? Well, I wanted to know how strong I've become within the past 6 months-ish. Yeah, I think 20 watts is an okay improvement considering that I don't have a structured training plan. I just run on weekends. And because now I'm out of the army, so I have time to work on the weekdays, which is good and bad, I guess. But at least now we know that the benchmark now is 240 watts, and then we're gonna improve from there. Now, if you haven't done your FTP and you're considering doing it, go ahead, go and find somebody who has an indoor trainer. Go try it out. Otherwise, I think certain bike shops allow you to do FTP tests. I'm not too sure. You can go and Google that yourself. But yeah, so it's actually quite an eye-opening experience. RAM test was never easy. They are never easy, but it's just a world full of pain when you're staring at a LCD screen and then watching your character move up the freaking hill at 5 km per hour. Okay, you guys can't see it, but the guy is moving at 5 km per hour.
I think at that point I was just too hammered to say anything else. But what I wanted to say is, If you enjoy whatever I'm doing and you want to follow my journey onto hitting 300 watt FTP, remember to press the subscribe button below if you have not pressed it already. And there are gonna be some other interesting videos, I hope they're interesting, which is gonna come out within the next week or two. And one of them involves gels. So if you're interested to see future videos, remember to go and press the subscribe button. And if you're interested or you want to see other stuff, go and type in the comments of what you guys want to see. And it actually just helps to support the channel to grow. And I think within half a year, we have grown from 100 to 500. So let's just hit 1,000. Hopefully we can hit 1,000 by the end of the year. So let's try to hit 1,000. And let's just watch this channel grow. Because I'm just doing this for fun. And it's actually quite comforting to see people say like, hey, I like your stuff, which is quite nice. So if you actually have any suggestions, any feedbacks, feel free to just type in the comments below and wait for the next one.